breast milk freeze drying. So I'm here. I'm Dr. Diana. I am the CEO and founder of Pump with Purpose. I'm going to be joined shortly by It's My Leche to talk about freeze drying your breast milk. It is the cutting edge, newest, latest, and greatest thing that we can do with that breast milk. So I'm going to be joined shortly by It's My Leche. I'm going to get them on right now. So let us know where you're tuning in from. We would love to know. Hello, hello, hello.
Oh, Diana, how are you?
How are
Very
you?
good. I saw you're a little under the weather. How's your throat? How's the voice? How
I
is
am
everything?
glad you're going to be doing more of the talking. So I just finished an hour-long podcast. So it just went to heck in a handbasket after
Oh,
that. But you're going to be here sharing all the exciting latest and greatest details from breast milk freeze drying from It's My Leche. So can you please, please, please introduce yourself to the community? Let them know about It's My Leche and why you got started.
of course. So I'm Jenny Korsick. I am one of the co-founders of It's My Leche. Our second co-founder, Trish Clifford, is behind the scenes here looking at all your questions and is equally as excited to be a part of this. But one of the co-founders, we started Leche, for short, as we call it, out of our own personal need. We were just two moms making a lot of breast milk, and we were donating. We were, shifting things around in the freezers. Our freezers were no longer, we could no longer put real family food in our freezers anymore. We're like, there has to be a better way to do this. So, we did the research. We went down this rabbit hole of all sorts of food preservation methods. And for the same way that you take, a cow's milk and you can turn it into like a whey protein or some sort of powder, we're like, why can't we do that with breast milk? If there are other things out there, like, other powdered supplements or formula or whatever for babies. So we did. We were the first customers. We were the first Leche customers, and our babies took it great, like with ease. And, we were able to travel with it. We're like, maybe we're onto something. Maybe other moms want to do this too. And so sort of out of our whole entire experience between looking for better preservation options, and then also like our donor experience too of trying to donate milk, but it became really difficult with logistics. It melts and you have to, get it to someone in a certain amount of time. It's really heavy to travel with to get it to a donor or a family, which is such a full circle moment, because now we're in a position where we can help all families. We can help you if you have an oversupply, uh, and are dealing with, some of the issues that sort of are attached to that journey. We can help you facilitate donations now, which is amazing. And now we're, coming out with our freeze dried, a powder donor product. Very, very soon. So a really cool moment for us as a brand. I know we probably went live like what, a year and a half ago or
Yes.
something. And so much has happened and so much has changed. And we've learned so much from not only our community, but communities like yours, of like what the true pain points are of what you're looking for, whether it is, just freeing up your freezer or learning more about your breast milk, or maybe your freezer thawed and you want to make sure it's safe to actually give your baby, or even, down to lipase is like an even bigger, issue than we had originally known about. So there's just so many cool things that over the past 18 months, the more breast milk we've, had in our facilities, in our labs, we just like we know so much more about it, and we know so much more about what we can share with the community of like how we can help them. So excited to be here. That's kind of our story in a nutshell, and what we do at Leche.
Can you talk about what I remember we were talking. Can you talk about the amount of wasted breast milk? Can you tell that number again?
Globally, it's something like 854 billion ounces a year. It's insane. And so, we know that a lot of moms have an oversupply, but we also know that a lot of moms, and a lot of parents want access to breast milk and they don't have it. And so, how can we kind of be in this position, right, to facilitate anything, whatever path is right for them. And so I think it's truly, it's such a cool moment as a brand to say we fixed one problem, but now we can apply it to a bigger problem that exists and create way more impact, not only like here in the US, but eventually globally, of helping parents all over the world get access to breast milk in a way that kind of fits their modern lifestyle. It's shelf stable. You don't have to worry about it thawing, going bad in transit, things like that we can truly now solve for.
Awesome. Can you talk about the freeze drying process itself and why someone may consider this? Because I know people can can have their thoughts on all the things, but can you talk about, just the freeze drying process in general and why someone may want to consider this?
Absolutely. The number one is freezer space. To be honest, like Trish and I were both just running out of freezer space, and we felt like compelled to share it with people at the same time, because we were making so much and we didn't want it to go to waste. And we know a lot of, like, getting too deep, getting in a deep freezer for some families, like it wasn't an option for us in terms of space. So how are we going to make sure that none of this was wasted? I had a very hard time, unless I knew it was going to a baby, parting with any of my breast milk. So, my husband's like, why don't we just use it? Or why don't you just, throw it away? I'm like, absolutely not. Like, you do not understand what's gone into this. So, first thing we're solving for in the freeze drying process is space. When you have a freezer stacked full of frozen milk bags, what you come back with in terms of freeze drying is a very condensed powder. And so 75 ounces. This is just kind of an example here. So if you would take 75 ounces, which is about 15 storage bags, right? That stacks into like a pretty big brick. You get a little tin like this that can sit in your pantry or your shelf. And I'll just take out, this is like some of our demo milk. And I'll get a sachet out so you can see it. But there are just some little individual sachets like this. And this one is actually open and has some breast milk I just spilled on my pants. So sorry about that. But it's just a little sachet that looks like this, and they sit in your pantry, and it's way smaller, so saving for not only space but preservation. So the longer that the breast milk sits in the pantry or in the freezer, we know that it's going to decline. Like a steak that sits in the freezer for 6 months tastes kind of like a steak that was been in the freezer for 6 months. So how do we preserve the nutrients and maximize the nutrients while we can? And that's why pharmaceutical brands trust freeze drying as a preservation method for things like probiotics and all the supplements that you take, because it retains the bioactives, which is so amazing for something like this mom to mom product. Second is, just giving moms more data and more confidence on their journey. So we can, through the freeze drying process as an add-on, we offer nutritional analysis, which breaks down everything in your breast milk, from calories to fat, carbohydrates, proteins. So if you're ever in a position where you feel like you need to fortify your baby's milk, or maybe your pediatrician is recommending that you fortify your baby's milk for growth reasons, this gives you more data and confidence to feed them in a way that is recommended by a doctor. And you can have that confidence to say, here's, the nutritional panel on my milk, and I know exactly what's in it. And, I can, you can fortify it then. So that's another great option. We're in California. Natural disasters happen all the time. We just saw what happened with, the hurricane, not where they were expecting it, in North Carolina. Like they're really being impacted right now by logistics and power and everything else that can affect a home. Imagine if your breast milk was transformed into something shelf stable and didn't require being in the freezer. You can navigate those emergencies way better. And so, like, whether it's power outage or whatever, we have a ton of moms in Florida who trust us with their milk for this reason. A ton of moms in California and even Texas because of power outage reasons. So just another benefit there. But the most often we're solving for convenience, to be able to travel with your breast milk on the go, through TSA, on an airplane, in a car ride, in an emergency setting. Say you're stuck in traffic and you can't get wet pumped milk to your baby. now you have an option. This can sit in your glove box, it can sit in your car, in your diaper bag, and you don't have to worry about carrying a lot of other things to keep milk cold. So lots of things that we're solving for in terms of like convenience for parents that deserve the flexibility. We live a very different life than we did 100 years ago, when nursing and even just pumping in general, right? Like, was not available to everybody. So, um, we live in a very different world. We're on the go. Moms are going back to work sooner. They need more options. So if a caregiver can step in and know how to use this product in a way that is super transparent, because all the instructions are right on the back of everything, even in our resealable pouch. It's one scoop for every 2 ounces. It makes life a little bit easier. And I think that the easier we make the journey for parents, the more they're going to want to do it, the longer they're going to want to do it. And if we can make the breastfeeding journey longer and easier for parents, it's better for babies. So that's kind of what we're all about, and how that trickle effect of, like, the mental load can be decreased with a service like ours.
So, does your nutritional panel also tell if what type of diet changes to make? Does it come with that, or just does a readout of the exact amount of each?
Out, it's basically like it's we give you the range of what's normal, and certainly if there are like really outlier examples of what we're getting back, we absolutely can bring in support team to help moms in making those adjustments. Trish, our co-founder, is also a CLC, which is amazing to have on hand. But really, we lean on medical professionals to get to, like, if something is a really big outlier. I think the most beautiful thing we saw in just September, obviously it was NICU Awareness Month, but a lot of NICU moms really leaning on the service and on the nutritional side of things, to help with even tube fed babies, and babies who need that extra little support to thrive. And we had one mom, and it's just one case of like why this matters and why we do what we do. But she was her baby has been tube fed from the get-go, and she shared her feeding journey with us, and we were super touched by it. But the thing that touched us the most was, she said, I was able to go off formula. I didn't have to give him formula anymore. Formula was always upsetting his stomach. If I was even just combining it with breast milk, now I can give him 100% breast milk in a way that, she feels confident, she feels, good about. And she said, he's throwing up a lot less. The spit ups are so fewer. Like, he's still going to have some, some issues. But she said, as a mom, just knowing that he's keeping the food down, he's tolerating it. I know it's my own breast milk. It's, no day is without challenges for her, but it's so much better. And to be able to offer her that peace of mind is just truly incredible.
Yes. So I'm going to tell everyone the most exciting piece that I learned from It's My Leche was when I discovered that you now offer, so I want you to talk about it, testing for like bacteria or harmful toxins. So can you please share more about this process?
Absolutely. So we only company who operates a freeze drying service for moms in the US that has implemented a bacterial test for orders. And what this means is, when we receive milk, we test it to make sure it is safe for consumption before we even freeze dry it. So our process, just full transparency, we're not going to be the fastest freeze dryer. But we are not, as a company, comfortable processing or giving something back to you as a mom to feed your baby unless we know it is safe for consumption. And the cases that it does happen, it's rare, but what we are seeing is that if there is contaminated, or milk that is not safe for consumption, the levels are really high. And when you have really high levels of bacteria and you freeze dry it, you can imagine that that bacteria becomes denser, and your baby can be very sick. So we are always going to err on the side of caution and safety, and putting your family safety first. Like, that is a risk we just don't we won't take as a company. And so we are the only freeze dry brand that does this important bacterial testing step. And a lot of times it just comes down to proper pump sanitation. Typically it is just passed through, a pump part that has been, has some bacteria on it. We definitely see it happening during warmer months versus cooler months of moms. Maybe they're pumping on the go. The environment is a little warmer. It's helping bacteria growth faster. And so what we're hoping to do is make sure that all moms have access to, safe, clean pump parts, know that that is an important part of this journey as well. But it's a really critical step when you're feeding something to a baby, that it is safe for consumption. And so that's a step that we have implemented starting in January. And most, if we do get a kit that is not safe for consumption, moms understand, and we give moms a full refund on that. We offer the ability for them to exchange their milk. We look for any signs that might indicate why that might have happened, and try to support them the best we can on that journey. But it's something as a company that is super important for us. And we want to be able to write the rule book on why this is so important for this business.
Are there multiple forms of bacteria? Do you tell the mom like which bacteria? I don't know what you can and can't share on like proprietary reasons, but do you just say it was bacteria was found? Is there certain ones that you look for? Is it more than one? I just anything that you're willing to
Let me
share.
I will get on that. That's something that is we're essentially looking for the same type of bacteria that caused the formula recalls, that was found in all that can be present in some of these baby food products. And so there's a little bit of a range, and there are some proprietary
Of
things behind the scenes,
course.
and absolutely share one-on-one and with moms and with customers. But it again, we're looking at these levels from a safety perspective, as say like a hospital would for donor milk, which is very, very important for us, of course.
Yeah. But we all know that everyone keeps saying bacteria may not, it's not in breast milk. It can't be all of that. It is completely not true. It can be
And
found in breast milk. Like,
not necessarily milk. It's what's happening in the pumping process.
correct,
So that's why we can't
correct,
enforce,
correct.
and we can't enforce enough like clean, safe pumping, replacing your pump parts when things are starting to get worn out. Like, don't take the shortcuts. It's not even for your pump milk at home. If you're not even going to freeze dry it, it is like proper pump sanitation is so, so critical. So whether you are, pumping and freezing and just storing that milk and then feeding that to your baby, proper pump sanitation is so, so important. Or if you're donating, same thing, proper pump sanitation is very, very important. So pumping is in the grand scheme of things of how we've been breastfeeding a relatively new thing. And so there are certainly things that we figure out as we get more data around it, right? Of how to do it better. Pumps are getting amazing. They're tiny, they're Bluetooth enabled. Like, even 7 years ago when I was pumping for my first daughter, like pumps have come so far even in this timeline. So knowing and educating people around how to properly sanitize all these parts and to replace them, that they're not, these parts are not invincible and do need to be replaced every now and then, I think is a really important lesson for a lot of people.
No, I agree. And my pages come on a lot of scrutiny from doing those safest practices. And we're both a brand that we're not going to throw other practices under the bus. Like, that's not what we're here for. But we are here to say that there is safer practices, and washing your pump parts, proper pump sanitation is just so important. That's what I really want to point out. So, can you, whatever you're willing to share, um, to talk about the data you are seeing, where you're willing to share about the use of herbal supplements. What are you willing to
So
share?
Well, this is actually interesting because on our donor side, we screen for herbal supplements. I would encourage anybody who's obviously interested in learning more about our donor program to go through our donor application if you have an oversupply. And, of course, we support all of these journeys, whether you want to preserve your own breast milk, whether you want to share it, or whether you need access to it. Like, these are all journeys that we support. But herbal supplements are something that are flagged in our donor application, and so it's just something that for moms to be mindful of. not all supplements are created equal, nor are they regulated in a way that you go to CVS and you think that, okay, this is great. Or you go to like your health food store and you think like, this is great because they're selling it here. And really you have to do some work as a consumer to find out where your supplements are, coming from, who's producing them, and what can be in them, because it's certainly, I think you've also mentioned having some eye-opening experiences too with finding things in supplements that you didn't know could even be there. So it's just something to think about if you're a breastfeeding mom, or you're pumping or you're donating, that not all supplements are created equal, and certainly things that you think could be potentially harmless can have effects. I think that's supplement brands.
Let's hope she comes back. It's circling. Instagram has been very glitchy lately, so let's hope that she can.
Are you back? I think you might be frozen, or did I freeze?
You froze. You
Okay,
froze.
you froze for me too.
Okay.
I did that.
Like I said, Instagram is really glitchy right now, but um, I think we just wanted to point out that for you all to just know that, like you said, all supplements, all herbals are not created equal. Really, really practicing, the safest practices is very important. So, can you talk about the newest offer you have about breast milk donation, about receiving? Don't if someone needs to receive donor milk that's freeze dried, can you just talk about whatever you're
Yeah.
willing to share about your future plans
Yeah.
for that process?
Look, a little preview of it. You can see it on our site, but so it'll come in a really great little box like this. Has our nutritional panel on the back, just sort of, a little bit about the product, but it'll come in these little sachets. This is going to be the future of donor milk. Freeze dried, shelf stable. This makes a 2-ounce feeding. So a really great option. I know that, a lot of times as a lactation consultant, like you might, or a pumping consultant, you might come in late, or when a mom is having problems, right? And so one of the things that we've learned really quickly was this is an amazing product for those moms who know they want to breastfeed and want to continue in the breastfeeding journey or pumping journey, but just maybe need a little bit more time. Maybe their milk hasn't come in, or maybe they got sick and they're on a medication and they need kind of a bridge to get to where they are, from like, even if it's just 2 days. This can be an amazing tool and lifesaver for them. So this is our new, human donor milk product. It is treated in a different facility than our mom to mom operation. So that is very boutique. This is a completely different operation. This is an operation that is already processed hospital donor milk, which is to the safest standards. There are there's 3 screening processes. Not only are the donors like screened from a health questionnaire, then they're blood tested. Then, initial milk is tested even from like a protein analysis standpoint. Like, is what they're sending actually breast milk? Then they're screening for all those toxins and supplements and alcohol and all those other things that we don't want in the breast milk, right? And so they're an amazing team that has over 10 years of experience in doing this specifically with breast milk. And now we're taking it a step further, making it shelf stable so that it just fits into everybody's lifestyle a little bit better. And again, whether it's a bridge during that first week of life, or whether it's a bridge from, something else happening that is causing, your supply to drop, or whether you're a combo feeding family and you want to boost and give your baby the benefits of breast milk on that formula journey, like, you now have options. We are all about more options for more families. So that's been a big undertaking of ours, but we're super excited that it's coming very, very soon. So we have a wait list on the site. I know a lot of people can be like, tell me when it's actually ready, but there is a wait list, and we are taking orders based off that wait list. And so we're super excited to get it going. But we're always coming out with like whatever is going to help breastfeeding parents. We also have these like amazing lipase bags, and I should get you some of these too. But these are new barrier bags we have too for high lipase moms. So we know, of course, freeze drying helps with lipase, but these barrier bags also really help. So we've got colostrum kits coming out. We got so much cool stuff coming out to support everybody's journey, no matter where
So
they are on it.
what is a barrier bag? What can you tell us what that
So
means?
this is more like UV blocking and oxidation blocking. So you can see this is kind of like a matte. I'll have to rip it and open it up, but it's like a matte material. It's not clear like the other bags that can be exposed to say like light and air. It is a much sturdier little storage bag, and it has a cute little area where you can write little notes on the back. We love that, but it's an oxidation blocker essentially.
So have you done, you are like blowing my mind right now. So do you have any data? Because I know your team and what you do over there you love data. So is there any data that how these bags may compare to the clear bags and like
Honestly, the best data we have are reviews. Moms love them, and they say they actually are helping with the lipase resolution. So we're like, that's great. And it's just we know for lipase, like lipase, overactive lipase only really became an issue when moms are making so much more milk, right? Like pumps became more available, more moms were pumping, more moms were storing milk, and then they realized, oh, I have lipase or high lipase. Is my milk ruined, or is it, can I even feed this to my baby? It smells yucky. Like all these things that we just didn't know about pumped milk until recently in the past couple of years around the lipase effect. So lipase, we know if you're doing especially like the pitcher method or storing milk in the fridge first and then freezing tends to allow lipase to become more reactive, right? So if you know that you have more lipase or overactive lipase, you can always store right away in, say, one of these blocker bags. It might not stop it all the way, but it's going to help. But freezing right away and in small amounts, the faster it gets frozen, the less it has chance to oxidize and start to take effect. But if you still find that the lipase is present, or you don't want to add the vanilla or go through any of these other workarounds for it, freeze drying does help because we're removing the moisture. The moisture in the milk, which is water, is what's allowing that to become overactive. So when you remove that, you are seeing some improvements in lipase. And we have moms that have had total resolution, like save the day. Milk is like can't taste it, smell it, see it at all, right? Not see it, but can't taste it at all. And then we have some that are just, it's improved. It might still be there a little bit, but it's way better and way more palatable for baby. Or, they can mix it with fresh milk and it becomes like unnoticeable. So many cool things that we're learning about breast milk as we, expand all of these offerings for moms who need it most.
you have literally blown my mind. I didn't even know that was like it takes a lot to make me speechless and I have no voice halfway, but I can't I told you that women with like when we have plans to like change the world, I'm speechless.
So
I
moms set out to fix a problem. Watch out, world. Like that's and we feel the same way. Like all of the women who work in our company, they're moms. They understand the preciousness of what we're dealing with, the delicate, nature of this business, which is why we hire moms. Moms are the best leaders. They're the best, people to solve problems. But they understand. At the end of the day, you want moms who understand. And so that's what we're all about.
well, I'm speechless. So I'm just in a year and a half. I don't know what the next year and a half is going to look like because the amount of advancements that has taken place, I am floored. I'm so thankful for all the data, all the people working behind the scenes to just really bring us more information because right now the research is not keeping up. And so, like you said, to lead the cutting edge of some of this research is just going to be invaluable, especially the importance of pump safety, these products that are not being tested, trying to get a regulation body out here to really start to do some of the due diligence. And I just look like a crazy person standing on top of a hill. Like, stop, because nobody's researching this stuff. And you all have not only started it, but collecting so much data. Um, I just, you're like going to be, I don't watch movies, but you're going to be like that back to the, like, I don't know, some futuristic, like, we're living in the future now because of all the hard work that you're putting.
Listen, this is we really believe like our tagline is modernizing breast milk, but this next wave, like this is the future of breast milk, like the donor system. And let me just even end on this note is that like donors have not been appreciated for so long, right? Like their donations are, milk banks take them, moms aren't compensated for them. We're compensating moms $1 an ounce. Like this is hard work. Like they're actually like we value them for that beyond what they can contribute. And so it's so amazing to be in a position and build a company around the things that matter to us most as moms and as donors. They deserve to be compensated for their milk, and parents deserve to have better access to it. You shouldn't have to buy $1,000 worth of donor milk and 1,000 ounces and travel 3 hours in the back of your car, like with dry ice in the back of your car, just to have access to breast milk. It doesn't, that's not the way the world works anymore. That's not the way we live. And so, the more we can break down those barriers on all fronts for it, make this a better landscape for donors, get them excited about donating. No other company out there is putting excitement around like becoming a breast milk donor, but we are the community that's doing that. And we're creating an entire new way to think about this ecosystem. Just because it's been done the way it's been done since the start of milk being pumped and donated to milk banks doesn't mean that's how it has to be done. So we're here to shake it all up and make it better for all parents.
But not just the fact that moms can be compensated, but also the people on the other end. They have a better idea that they're receiving milk. It's been bacteria tested, it's been nutritional tested, all these testing rounds, because I feel like people aren't aware that donor milk can be beneficial. Like I had a family and I was like, you can ask the, it just taking that information around some of the scrutiny of worried about the different.
Even if you get donor milk from a friend, you don't know, like, maybe that friend had a couple too many glasses of wine or was drinking a lot of coffee or was on a medication that she never disclosed to you. This removes all the doubt in that situation of like donor milk is great and there will still be options and still be ways, and we totally promote and will help facilitate like anything that needs to be done like quickly and easily on the ground. But like you still don't have the clarity and the data around like what's actually in that milk. This is something that modern parents can truly latch onto. And like to be blunt, like this has been breast milk has been keeping us alive from the start of time. Like if you couldn't produce milk or you didn't have access to milk, a friend stepped in for your mother or a sister or a cousin or somebody else that could feed your baby if your baby was going to live. And so this is really modernizing this generational practice that has kept us alive in a way that parents can understand. Like trusted by professionals, medically screened, triple tested for safety, and now in a powder instead of having to run all over town with coolers in the back of your car to preserve it and use it within a certain amount of time. Like this is 3 years shelf stable. So same as our other freeze dried products.
Yes. So let everyone know where they can find you, and if they have questions, what is the best way to reach out to you?
Sure.
Um, Let us know.
Follow us at It's My Leche. Our website is itsmyleche.com. And we are super responsive. Send us a DM. Send us, there's an email support link in our footer on the email or on our website too. So we will answer. Find a way to get through to us and we will answer. But DM us after this live, like find us in the comments, like anywhere. We will be there for you. So part of our whole community strategy is like we are moms and we support moms, and we understand that maybe Instagram is your platform. Great, we have answers for you there. If you want to email us, we can help you there too. But we're just excited for you to have us and to host us today. I think so much is changing in this space, and we want to continue to work together to be at the forefront of the best recommendations for all moms, no matter where they are on the journey.
I agree. Thank you so much for coming on. This, as long as Instagram is Instagramming, this live will be saved for anyone in the future. If you have friends, family that's interested or wanting to know more about freeze drying breast milk, donating breast milk, all the future to come, I'm going to be watching you closely because you seem to be changing by the month and or the year,
And
and I'm
you
just
know what? We have so many, like, let's get some samples out to you,
yes,
to your followers,
please.
and let's get some specials or something for everybody to start, try if even they just want to try our amazing storage bags. Like, we got them.
I think
So
that's
let's do
amazing. Yes.
it. Okay.
So thank you. Have a wonderful
You
evening.
too.
Bye.
Talk soon. Bye.